the environment was conducive for an election. And quite clearly, it's not conducive for an election. Despite the determination of the people, I will get you to listen to a tape of a meeting that I went to yesterday. I think we certainly send that on YouTube, people expressing themselves. So they are determined, despite what has happened. But the question is the environment conducive? Victory is certain, but is the environment conducive? The environment is not conducive at all. I went to Nyangwiju, where progress has happened in terms of the electrification of the school, the roads being done, which is that of people's right. It's never happened since 1980. And people are quite excited about the development which is happening there. But clearly quite certain who has brought the development. Since 1980, that has not happened. They've been paying rates for a long time, but they never saw the rewards of their rates and so forth. Nyangwiju is very sad. I was in the constituency. I confronted the people on the ground, the soldiers on the ground, personally. And I got to the shopping center. I was told they are here, but we are afraid. I said, why are you afraid? I said, they are abusing young children sexually. That is what is happening. And I said, who in particular? They pointed out to the people. I went to them and I said, is this what you were sent to do, to sexually abuse children in this area? I don't care where you come from. And I don't think you even come from the ruling party, because the ruling party strategy is not to sexually abuse kids. But that's how bad things have been. One of the young men says, my own sister was sexually abused. They have a school that they think taken over. And they are at these growth points, business centers, they drink. That's all they do, drink and just abuse. Drink and abuse. During the day, they just threaten people around there. No one can attend the meeting and so forth. And I came face to face with that. I've said for fear of victimization, the young man will be making a report to the police very soon. I'll equally be writing a letter to the authorities in terms of that. That's in Nyangwiju. The base camps are there. I went to Masanga again. Car, we have it, Mitsubishi usual, army vehicle, no number plate. They are equally there. I confronted them again. I said, but why are you intimidating people? Who has sent you to intimidate people? And naturally, you'd understand that the community cannot approach them. But I can, because I can approach anyone. And it is the right of those people to know what is happening. The guys were there. Fortunately, they said, no, Mr. Mliswa, can we talk? And I said, no, we cannot talk when you're here and you're doing this to these people. They have village meetings that they're having, round up to elections. All the village heads, you can't even talk to them. As we speak, they're meeting with village heads where strategically they're being told what to do. On the day of the elections, they've already written the list of all the households with their numbers. And on the day of the election, they've been given a time as to when to come and vote. And if you don't come at that time, we're going to burn your house. That is quite apparent. It's pretty clear to me that the level of intimidation has been high. And fortunately, when I went to the ground, people were so excited to see me. at the shops where I'll just stop, want to have a drink, they'll all get out. There's a shopping center in Karelishe where there were 200 people who just heard I was around. They came to see me. We thought you were in jail. We thought you were not allowed to come here. So you can really come here. By the time I left here, there were about 400 people who had already gathered, hoping that I'd come back and so forth. But of course I said to them, listen, I'll not be able to come, and I don't want to meet you because of fear of victimization when I'm gone. I have equally said that it's not, as I speak, a team from Temba West, young boys came to me and said, we want to go and campaign for you. We belong to Zanu PF, there are 15 of them, and we've come from Zimba. We believe you've worked hard, you're a good chairman, and we want to go and campaign for you, because I believe it is important. So there's been overwhelming support to a point where other constituencies are coming to just support. As I speak, they're on the ground. And they said, no, the intimidation might not happen. We'll go and talk to the people of Hurungwe West. Because Hurungwe West is infested with people from Vimba right now, as we speak. And you know why? Because really it's Comrade Chombo who masterminded this, and he knows that he has a price to pay at the end of the day. I want to allude to the letter that has been written to ZEC by Comrade Chizanga, who was a former provincial member, political commissar of the Youth League in Marsh West, a voter in Hurungwe West, and he's written a letter to ZEC, a copy which we do pertaining, and the reference is letter of concern regarding the Zanu PF aspiring candidate for Hurungwe West and request for substitution disqualification. That's Comrade Guja. It goes on to also talk about, first of all, apparently his real name is not Keith Guja. His real name is believed to be Nevermind Kachasupiri. Guja is his mother's name, and in which he's believed to forge documentation in order to hide his identity for lack of qualifications upon being appointed the board chairperson of this National Investment Trust, and to hide his identity of the past criminal convictions. It is believed that the reason he was compelled to change his name was to evade recognition from past, which was littered with cases of pickpocketing from an early age, spread to motor vehicle theft, armed robbery, and drug selling and usage. He is believed to have been a well-known car thief who dealt in stolen cars from South Africa, while at the same time dealing and using cocaine right up to his conviction and beyond. It was thought that a man he was in cahoots with Zain, Z-A-N, shot and killed himself at Keith's house after one of their drug takings. Keith is also alleged to have been sleeping with young men, and he used to take drugs with. It is also believed that an Australian is still addicted to cocaine and uses it regularly. Although his mother was from Chundu in Hurungwe, his father was Malawian, John Light Piri. Number 5, Keith is believed to have grown up at 2451 Egypt Lines in Highfields, Harare. He allegedly to be a high school dropout who never attained his O-level certificate and dropped out of school in Form 2 at Highfields Secondary School. From the above allegations, it is clear that Keith Guja would not be a credible or upstanding candidate that can represent Hurungwe West confidently. We would not wish to see our men, women, and children led by an alleged drug addict fraudster who was further alleged to be big-time armed robbery with a conviction, hence the name change. I don't believe that if proven, such an individual has the capacity to instill the correct value system in the community, and I'm afraid that if it is so, he may be just an opportunist who may wreak havoc in the constituency, be retrogressive, and feel that he should be disqualified. I appeal to you to investigate these allegations, which if found will prove the unsuitability of the candidate to stand for the Hurungwe West by-elections and be substantive grounds for his disqualification under the Electoral Code of Conduct. I do not believe he is fit to represent I do not believe he is a fit representative for a candidate as a member of parliament in Hurungwe West or any other constituency given these allegations and his propensity to switch from constituency to constituency, having previously failed in the primary elections of 2013 in Magunja, and make this request for investigation and subsequent disqualification upon confirmation. The letter has been copied to Comrade Mnangagwa, Comrade Ziami, the Commissioner General of Police, the Prosecutor General, Tomana, the Secretary of Administration, Comrade Chombo, for Commissariat, Comrade Kasugre, the Senior Assistant Commissioner for Anti-Corruption, Commissioner Pondo, and equally myself as the candidate. This is the letter which was written by Comrade Zanga, which was copied to me pertaining to Comrade Keith Goja. I don't know whether I should say Comrade, never mind, Kacha Superior, but we know who we're talking about. On the other issue, police equally have denied us having meetings in the constituency. Out of the 24 meetings that we requested, we only had 8 approved. We wrote to them requesting for meetings, we only had 8 approved. ZEC have been dragging their feet and have done nothing so far. Despite the complaint, the number of letters, they've not done anything. I equally agree with other independent candidates on the lack of assistance from ZEC, which boggles my mind that as long as the electoral reforms are not in place and ZEC is not moving, there will never be electoral reforms happening. And certainly these elections are supposed to certainly give us a way forward in terms of the 2018 elections or any other by-election, some which already are going to happen and so forth after the expulsion of other members in the party. I would like to clarify one thing in terms of, I saw the article today in terms of Zanu PF talking to me in terms of withdrawing and so forth. I think I want to make it clear that I am not one who shall be used as a pawn for any political fights at a certain level. And I must make this very clear. If there are those who have an issue to settle with the president at their level, they must settle with the president at their level. I must be very clear on that. I'm not part of any party. I'm an independent candidate who discusses with anybody. Equally, who discusses with people. If there's a party called People's First, which was going to be formed, anybody at this point in time I'm discussing with. But I see that there is a grouping which probably would like to see us politicians being used. I'm not one politician who will be used. With my experience in politician, I think I've learned enough. I respected, and I've always respected, the former Vice President Manu Julu because she was an elected member of the party. She was the Vice President of the party. I supported the office. At no point did I go for persons and not the office. Equally, Comrade Mnangagwa has been appointed, whether controversially or not. But equally, there could be a debate whether Manu Julu's appointment was equally controversial when she was in power. I remember Professor Mo saying that her appointment was unconstitutional. The Congress has been challenged by Comrade Mtasa. We wait for the outcome at the end of the day. But some of us have decided to move on. And being an independent candidate, you are clearly distancing yourself from any political movement. And we believe that for you to be in power in politics, I believe that you must at least win the confidence of the people. I don't believe in leaders who don't have constituencies, who don't have words, and then step up and lead. That's my own thinking. If you're going to lead, you must at least show that you have the control of the people. So there are those who have been misquoted, talking about people first, using some of our names as independent candidates, saying that there's lobbying money for us. I've never been given any money from anyone. And let me say there was an attempt for me to be given $400, which is not even worth fuel to Hurungwe West, under a certain pretext of a party, which if they continue like this, I'll name them. And I equally say I'm not worth $400. An election is not worth $400. There are those who are standing who probably require that, but I don't. So I think we don't want to get to points of exposing each other. at this juncture. And I don't want the people of Hurungwe West to be used as a pawn in the bigger fights of politics. Every decision I take as a politician comes from the people. I stand as an independent because the people in Hurungwe West say stand as an independent. It will equally be up to them to say this is the party that we want to belong to. And when they say that, they now move in the direction that they want. I'm very clear about that. I did not make myself an independent candidate. They said, we want you to stand as an independent candidate. I thought deep about it. I even communicated with the ruling party at the time, with Comrade Chombo, to say, can we sit down and discuss these issues? I've been expelled from the party, and I believe the approach that you're taking in winning Hurungwe West will not prevail. You cannot go to Hurungwe West and say, down within Temba Mliswa. It does not work. And it does not work because I'm like a father who is keeping this orphans. And you cannot come one day when you finish your ongoings, whatever is happening as a father, and then claim responsibility for those kids. It's impossible. Zanga dziri nherera dzisina munhu aidziziva. Dzikati uyai muzomira panesu. Saka ungangofuma nekuti wewe ndiwe baba wakazvara oti ndadzoka pamusha. Vana vanoti ko baba ngoyese mamuri kupi? Taidya maiti pachikafu here. And basically what I'm saying, Zanu PF cannot use that approach and say, no, you are our people. Because they're saying, since 1980, where have you been? We've put an X on Masvingo. But Masvingo does not speak in parliament. We've put an X on Zanu PF. Zanu PF does not speak in parliament. If at all, you did care for us. From 1980, there's not been development in this area. From an education point of view, from an infrastructure point of view, from a health point of view. So why did you not step in at the time? But here is a man who came through for us and has stepped in. And this is the background I tried to share with them. And they decided that they wouldn't take that. And I think, hoping that I would be one of those people who just say, listen, yes, the party has made a decision, and I should stick by the party's decision. The party needs help. And those who believe that the party needs help must stand up to such decisions. Equally, this is where I challenge the leadership in the party. And the leadership in the party, I'm talking about the leadership which was there before Congress, which knew very well what was happening, but allowed people to be innocently expelled, to be innocently suspended. That is the question I ask myself every day. That if truly they believed that we were wrong, we were right, why did they not speak? Because they were the leaders in the party. The president was there. Ma'am Juru was the vice president. And she is the closest to the president. And she could have advised the president. And if at all the notion and the thinking was, these people belong to me, she could equally have said, no, but don't go for innocent people. If you truly believe that I'm organizing meetings to ouster you, then get rid of me. It is no secret that the president confirmed a lot of times in Zanu PF that there are factions. But the factions were in the PB at the highest level. But they were allowed to then grow, if that's the case, if you want to put it in that way. And when they now got to a stage where no one could control the factions, then they went for the innocent people. Even cell chairpersons had been suspended. District chairpersons had been suspended. So-called belonging to the vice president. The respect of the vice president was from the point that she was an elected person. She was the vice president of the party and secretary of the party. She was equally the vice president of the country. So I then don't understand when people then say that I'm lured by Zanu PF and Zanu PF is talking to me. Can I make it very clear? I have access to any office in this country. I don't need to go through anybody. If I equally want to see the president, I can call State House and ask for an appointment to see the president. I've never been one that uses anybody to get to the top. I use my own ways to get to the top. If I equally want to speak to Comrade Mnangagwa about Zanu PF and he equally wants to speak to me, he will call me and we'll talk. I see him as a cousin, as a brother, and we have those relationships. Equally, the same position I took on Comrade Mtas. He's my uncle. And I give him that respect as an uncle. But I have my own political thinking, which people must equally respect. If I was truly connected politically to Comrade Mtasa, I would have been a leader in Manicaland. If I was truly connected to Comrade Mnangagwa politically, I would have been a leader in Midlands, where I come from. But I chose to go and lead in Marsh West, where I don't come from, where there are no links. So at some point, I think people must then, try and think and say, who's really Temba Mliswa? So I don't believe in a situation where there's so much happening, and now some of us wants to be used in this pawn and so forth. If there was ever going to be a split in Zanu PF, it was supposed to be the day Rugare Gumbo was fired in PB. I believe if those men and women were truly for the cause and for the right things, they were supposed to stand up and walk. Because the expulsion of Rugare Gumbo was totally unfair. But Rugare Gumbo was targeted because he was a strong man. He stood for the truth. So they went for him. In going for him, they never said anything. That's when I realized that whatever we're trying to advocate for in terms of bringing stability in the party will not happen. When I talk about stability, was going to a Congress. And going to Congress doing people what people wanted to happen at the Congress. And I realized then it really wouldn't happen. This is where my thing, questioning of leadership with the people involved in that political bureau is very clear. It's normal. Today I'm an independent candidate in Hurungwe West because the Hurungwe West people have stood by me. I must stand by them. It's not about Temba. When at times you are called to think lead, it's not about you. It's about the conviction of the people. It's about people believing that you can lead and you are driven by people. That's a call from people. I like people who take a call from God, but they never take a call from people. That's a call from people to think lead. They are the people who put you in power and they believe you must lead. So I believe in leaders who step up to that, who take the challenge to that. So that's my personal view as Temba in terms of leadership. And that's my personal, and I have a view in terms of moving forward. Do I want to be associated with such leadership? What about if the same thing happens again? I'm young, I have a political life. It has been destroyed because certain people did not believe in standing up for the truth. I was a provincial chairman of the province. I was a member of parliament for the province. So there are those who speak, yes, who are armchair critics, but they were never expelled as provincial chairpersons. They were never expelled as members of parliament. They were never denied central committee position after being elected by the people. I speak from a position of being expelled. So how many of us are expelled? Jabulani Spanga stood for the truth. They let him go. You have enjoyed working with the president for so many years. We have not enjoyed working with him. And in working with the president, I believe that you must find the right time to go and sort out your differences. I was never part of the thing liberation struggle, and I will never be used in a pawn, as a pawn in that game. I'm totally out of it, and it must be known. I say so because I'm the chairman for the independent coalition candidates, a document which we signed. You were not aware of it, but we signed this document. We signed this document as the Zimbabwe Coalition of Independent Candidates. And this is what we said: we, the undersigned independent candidates participating in the June 10 elections, by-elections, have unanimously agreed to form a coalition based on the following principles. 1, people first. 2, socio-economic transformation. 3, broad-based empowerment. 4, respect for human rights. 5, zero tolerance to corruption. 6, rule of law, 7, electoral reforms, 8, cooperation with all progressive nations of the world, 9, equitable, non-racial participation of the economy. So when people see people first, they think it's a party. We believe in people coming first in our agenda. And let me make this very clear. So we did capture that because people are first. Tabakwan, saka munu pamberi, munu ndiyo kutanga, zinotaura munu ndiyo zvatinoita. Haisi part kuti vanhu first. Chosen ku electoral reforms. We said that's an issue which MDC is passionate about. We must equally embrace it. We also went on to the respect for human rights. NCA is very strong on that. So we captured. Zanu PF is strong about broad-based empowerment. It's obsessed about zero tolerance to corruption, though not much has happened. So if you look at all the political parties in this country, what will they believe in? We will put them there. You might as well equally say that we're representing MDC if you're reading of the principle, people first being a party. You're equally saying that electoral reforms is also that. We signed this, and the background of the coalition is very clear. The coalition emanates from the failures of the Zanu PF-led government to deliver on the aforementioned issues core to the development of our great nation. It is our belief that all political parties have failed to represent the will of the people, hence our coalition under the independent banner. This coalition was never under People First, was never under Zanu PF, was never under MDC. I am the only person with this document, and no one else has it. And if you're kind to me for coffee, I can favor you with a coffee. So I have this document which was signed, and we had the theme, let's unite against one-man center of power, dynasty. We had the slogan. The slogan is not a party, the slogan was People First. This coalition is being done on the pretext of People First, and it unites candidates of similar views. Furthermore, we've agreed to work together when elected into the House of Assembly and develop a common people-based agenda. In that regard, we've agreed to uniformity in our campaigns based on our principles, theme, and slogan. The coalition shall be chaired by Temba Mliswa, who shall be the chief whip when elected into parliament. There shall be 3 committee members comprised of the chairman and 2 committee members. Matters will be agreed by simple majority. These are the people who signed. You had Temba Mliswa signing, signing Netaka Muzuma, Donna Chimatira, Glenview South, Hemen Tonderai, Dzimara Sekwa, Magomeza Kuadzana, Msipa Makokoba, Farai Kuveya, Harare East, Tafadzwa Nzumbuni, Highfields West, Albert Mklanga Pumula, Jabulo Mguni Lobengula, and with others who came into sight. It's as clear as this. We then said, and then those who felt that they were generous or they had extra money, then said, listen, we are willing to support you. If Zanu PF was going to come and say we're willing to give you money or MDs or any other party, we are looking for donations. We have this, it's transparent, the money comes through. But we sent a number of proposals to many organizations. Like I say, let me warn those organizations not to have ambitions of being political parties when your house is not in order. I've always believed that Zanu PF is a political animal. It needs a grand coalition of structured parties. Of structured parties who are bringing something to the table. Not of parties who don't have anything to the table. Not of parties who assume that the Hurungwe West constituency belongs to us. We've done nothing. That must be very clear. I've always mentioned that a grand coalition is what I believe in at the end of the day. And with Zanu splitting the way it is right now, there will be those who want to come and join you. And equally, Zanu PF will also stretch out to those who believe they can work with. As I speak right now, there is a divide and rule in the party. As you can see, there were some who were expelled, some exonerated, some suspended. That is the so-called Gamma Talks team. So there's already divide and rule. They didn't realize, no, if we exonerate others, suspend others, expel the key people, we are in control. So there are already talks. There was a time to start a political party when the momentum was on, when people were hungry for it. And you did not. The day Rugare Gumba was expelled from the Politburo is the day Zanu PF was supposed to split. Is the day Zanu PF was supposed to have 2 congresses. One this way, one that way. If we believed that there were those who controlled 9 chairpersons or 9 provinces, then those 9 would have attended your Congress. If there are those who believe they controlled everyone, then they could have had one in their Congress. But that never happened. So we must be very clear about the political dynamics at the end of the day. Equally, I've said that Congress eventually came up with Comrade Mnangagwa as the vice president, Comrade Mpoko as the other vice president. As in the norm, when I have a problem and I feel I must take it to the leadership in government, don't then say I'm going to Mnangagwa, and why am I going to Mnangagwa? May I want those people not to tell me who to interact with. If Comrade Mnangagwa is going on a trip to China and I'm a businessman in this country, I'll join it because it's a Zimbabwe trip for Zimbabwean business people. So let's not now try and now accuse each other because of your failures. And you think that Mliswa must get things right. I was equally accused of being the person who was going to stand at the Congress and say, Your Excellency, I propose that you think step down because you're too old. Can you leave it for my Mjuru? That's the reason, that is why the president, and they was convinced that I must not be the chairperson, because people went and lied to him. But Congress never happened. So if it never happened, why can't I be exonerated equally? Because Congress never happened. Oh, Temba is a strong character, you know that, and he is bound to stand up. He's the chairperson for the spokesperson for all the chairpersons. My plea to the party is simple. You've got to engage those that you fired innocently. Because you've started your own problems, which you cannot deal with. And Hurungwe is one such problem, Hurungwe West. Hurungwe West will never be won by Zanu PF. And that's very clear. And the issue why they are running around, they are so desperate at the end of the day, it's a rural constituency. What message will it send? And those that are sensible within the party, yes, they believe we must engage. But the Hurungwe West issue is a Mashonaland West issue. It has nothing to do with Comrade Mnangagwa. Because the leader of Mash West is Comrade Chombo. So if the thing story was entitled Chombo sends people to talk to me, it would make sense because he is the one who messed up. The vice chairman, acting chairman was Ziyambi. I equally talked to Ziyambi. And I think when they go on the ground, they see the truth. I believe Hurungwe West will liberate Zimbabwe. And I'm very clear about that. And yes, it will start in Hurungwe West, it will spread to other constituencies in Mash West. And the question that the president will ask is, but how come you lost Hurungwe West, which was Zanu PF? And a few heads will roll, obviously. And the head which will be first to roll is that of Comrade Chombo, who brought the agenda forward. There's not been a probe. There's not been an investigation on why people were expelled. It's divide and rule. Mash East was taken. The committee sat down and said, this we exonerate. I wrote a letter, I think I'm one of the few people who wrote a letter to the disciplinary committee then, appealing or having to, I was challenging my thing suspension. But I can tell you, to show how selective it is, those who have been exonerated never wrote to the party. But I wrote to the party. I wrote to the national chairman then. So national chairman, my suspension is unfair. I've not heard anything. A hearing has never been heard. But those that never wrote are being heard. So this is the divide and rule that I've mentioned, and I think it must be very clear in terms of my involvement and so forth. The farm was invaded. If the farm is invaded, I have a right to see His Excellency and say, why is the farm being invaded? It does not do the country's policy on land reform any good. It does not do you any good. You are AU leader, you are SADC leader. Where is it taking the country in terms of investor confidence? It's not in taking the country anywhere. I think it's important that people continue with their businesses quietly and silently. And equally, I would like to advise them one thing. If you are going to think challenge Zanu PF, you come in the open. Stop having teas and coffees in hidden places. Come in the open. That's my advice. Come in the open, challenge Zanu PF like I've done in the open. Bring the issues up in the open. There are many political parties which have been formed within Zanu PF which never worked, which other people at the end of the day suffered immensely from a reputation point of view, because the people who sent them to do that then stayed back. I've learned my politics, and because of those experiences, I'm pretty clear with what we would want to more or less achieve. Let me also make it very clear to you that the talking with Zanu PF, even if I'm talking to anybody, to think step down, it would never happen. First of all, the candidate is a problem. I cannot leave Hurungwe West to a criminal. It's impossible. I cannot. These are innocent people who need genuine representation. So if we are ever to talk about anything, they know what we have agreed or what is supposed to happen. First of all, the perpetrators for violence must be arrested. The perpetrators for violence must be arrested. There is no way that we can talk when the perpetrators are still moving with you. They're still campaigning with you. And you're saying that we must talk. I've got people on the farm right now who are injured with broken limbs. I mean, what would they think of me? Compromising their life over having to go back to the party. So to me, I think time has moved. There was a time to talk, and it gets to a point where there's no time to talk. I will not behave like those who believe when it's the right time they don't do anything. No, I will do something when it's the right time. And right time, the time is to move on, to represent the people of Hurungwe West and ensure that the electoral reforms are in place, which they are not. And as I speak, I think lawyers are busy filing. What I believe is key to ensure that the playing field is not even. I will now ask Alan. Alan Tiripawi is from the constituents. Alan got hold of me and said, I've been shown a gun by the guys on the ground. So I said, Alan, you know, the good thing about this is that you must speak for yourself. You were there, I cannot speak for you. So that, come at Alan, tudati mutauri, samaka sangana nazo, kuchiroti.
Ini nogara kuchiroti, what 24 from the West. Yangi almost started ma skat, tulika ma township. So tiri papo, kune masoja akakandwa musikoro, like pachiroti pane msoja aripo, masoja aripo. Varikundidwa na 2-3 chaplain anenzi machitibura. But chitibura haasi kufamba munharaunda, ari kufamba munharaunda vamwe vacho. Anonzi Bereketi iyeye akawanika achindichikidzira akandidaidza kekutanga panze ndiri mushopu. Vanzi wewe you are very supportive to Temba Mliswa, ndati ichokwadi. Nekuti inini ndinoda munhu ane vanhu pamoyo, munhu ari visible muconstituency. Ndobva ati okay dzokera. Takadzokera mushopu, ndobva andidaidza zvakare. Ndobva ati iwewe munoziva here kuti imimi you are the ones who are sending my messages kunana Newsday violence munomu. So mukudai toda kutombodhila nemi zvakasimba. So I resisted, ndobva ndadzokera mushopu. akadedza for the 5th time but ano iwe uya kunoba panze ndokwenda neni kuseri kwemashops aina neni kuseri kwemashop berekete akandiudza akati iwewe ndipe phone yako because my message enye samuri kutumira kuna Mliswa ari kuintercept kwa ku Econet ndakati phone luckily enough phone yanga iri kucharge kune imwe shop saka iye akagara muningi ava nepistol ku left leg iri musocks shotgun but iwo toda kuitoita glani for the last time I want to kill you now so he tried to pull out his gun so I trusted my use ndatiza chienda ndokwenda musango akatiedza kutevera ngoti semse Saturday vanhu vekuchechi vanenge vakazara ipapo akatraya kutevera but nini ndatopinda musango then from there ndakatanga kufona ndakazotumira infect munhu kuti anditorere phone yangu kushopu kana yanga iri ndatanga kungofona ndokutanga kutongofamba neroad even pamba ndatombosvika ndatozongofona ngoti ini ndatorwa pasi because aya ndoda kutouraiwa ndoba ndakafonera honorable ndoba ndakwanisa ndakazoita 2 days ndiri musango tudzimara ndabatana nawo avo ndoba ndazoya kunoko up to now I'm fearing to go back home nekuda kwefear iri kuinstaliwa nemasoldiers vayo.
Alan also is my agent at Chichiroti. That's a polling station, so he's also one of my agents. Koma chizanga ndimi nyakunyora tsamba yavaguzha zvoda kuti mutsanangure kune vanhu sei makainyora.
Ini ndinonzi Jackson Chizanga ndiri political commissar Mash West ku-youth wing ndakadzingwa ndichinzi ndinotsigira vaMliswa ndikaenda hangu ndikanogara kumba vaMliswa vazodzingwa kuparliament ndikati aiwa vaMliswa toramba chikutsigirai tati tinoramba chikutsigirai ndofunga takaita memberero yechikoro panonzi pakarambazungu inonzi karambazungu declaration karambazungu district ikakumbira vaMliswa tinokumbira kuti mumire kuita independent chero musingade muchida kuramba kumira vaMliswa vamira independent vanhu vese vekuHurungwe West ndofunga vanovada ende vanawo pamoyo pakaitwa maprimary elections ekuHurungwe West Zanu PFin choose comrade Keith Gusha isati nakuwirirana nazvo kuti comrade Keith Gusha vangatimiririre nekuti vakambomira kumagunje vakadyiwa vachiti ndokwaiva kumusha kwavo kumagunje kwavanogara vachiti ndokwaiva kumusha kwavo kwavanogara kumagunje tinoziva kuti kudzingwa kwakaitwa vaMliswa zvinaye vana comrade Gusha futi because ana comrade Gusha vaitanga vanowirirana vaMliswa but vachida constituency yavaMliswa vachiziva kuti vaMliswa vanoshanda. Comrade Gusha haasi mugari wemuHurungwe West. Comrade Gusha kana kumagunje kwacho ndosaka vakadyiwa navagandahwa nekuti havasi mugari wekumagunje. Vanhu vekuHurungwe West vakutomanikidzirwa kunzi vhoterai mumasvingo pana Gusha nekuti ndivo veZanu PF. Asi chero vachinzi ndivo veZanu PF takanzwa kuti itsotsi imbavha vaiba motikari havana mukadzi munhu anongofamba achingoenda saka isusu hatigone kumiririrwa nemunhu akadaro kuHurungwe West. Ndetarisire kuti Zanu PF kuHurungwe West kwayakaisa comrade Gusha achiti vamirire pakayanzetwa free and fair election havagone kusvitsa 1000 votes. Ndetarisire kuti pamaelection atiri kuenda vaMliswa last time iyo pamaelection apfuura vachikukwidza neMDC vakaita 8000 votes but this time tinetarisire kuti vanofanira kuita 14895 zvichienda kumberi. Vanhu vekuHurungwe West vari kuda vaMliswa zvakanyanya zvekuti pakanzi free and fair kuti vaMliswa ngavaite kana star hari panogona kutoita tende inopinda vanhu 10,000 and more vanogona kupinda mutende imomo but zvikoro 52 zvakaiswa masoja kuti achidzire vanhu ari kufamba mudzimba ari kugara mumabhawa achivhundutsira vanhu kuti mukangovhotera vaMliswa after election tichakurovai, after election hapana chamuchawana kana mavhotero vaMliswa. Asi vanhu vakati hazvina basa, zvinhu zvataiwana kubva kunoku taiona zvaibva kuna vaMliswa, zvizhinji zvaizvo zvasingabve kupati. Saka vaMliswa tinovada zvavakadzingirwa isusu, saka isusu tichamira navaMliswa chero zvikadii. Chero vakazama nenzira dzedu dzavanogona kuisa mapolitibhuro members ese mumaodzi kuti vachidzire vanhu, but mubox mapolitibhuro members anenge asimo, isusu tichavhotera vaMliswa pasina kukundikana. Ndo zviri kuHurungwe West. Asi chachiri chikumbiro chedu chekuti kuHurungwe West masoja ngabve muzvikoro, nekuti mamwe mamistress chaiwo akatobviswa mudzimba dzaaigara dzakutogara masoja. Mamwe mistress akutokumbirirwa maraini kunzi atogara maraini achozoti chavana. Saka chikumbiro chatinacho chekuti masoja dai abviswa, masoja dai aregera kufamba maraini, toziva kuti masoja ndeehondo. kuHurungwe West hakusi kwehondo, kuHurungwe West ndekwedevelopment. And since ndakaberekwa 1981 handisati ndamboona muconstituency yeHurungwe West muchiya madhoza akawanda zvekusvika 8, kucherwa zvibhorani zvakadaro, kuchiya magetsi mudzimba zvakadaro. Development kuHurungwe West yauya zvine power nekuda kwekushanda kwavaMliswa nechallenge yakaitwa vaMliswa. Saka vaMliswa vachitovhoterwa nevanhu nedevelopment yakaitwa iyoyo. Vari kuita development vachifungidzira kuti tinoti ndeyavaguzha, but tiri kuziva kuti haisi yavaguzha, idevelopment yehurumende yavari kurwisana navaMliswa. Saka izvozvo zvavari kuita izvo ndo zvichaita kuti mavhotsi avaMliswa awande.
Any questions?
Tiva pasi.